Good morning from Highlands Astronomical Society, brought to you from Benview Observatory in Conan Bridge in the Scottish Highlands. My name is Eric Walker, I'm Chair of Highlands Astronomical Society, and I'm your scope pilot and live chat host for today. Now, many of you have probably never ever looked at your closest star. So I'm just going to give you a very quick look at what it looks like just now. This is live through a solar observing telescope with special filters on it. Please never ever look at the sun with your naked eye, but especially not through binoculars or a scope without these special filters, because you will go blind. But you're safe today. This is, I think, going to be an excellent session. There are some clouds in the sky, but not too bad. We're definitely going to be able to see the eclipse, or the partial eclipse. What I'm hoping is that the clouds clear even more, and we will actually be able to see some of the surface details in the sun, and indeed some solar prominences which are erupting from the sun at this moment in time. There is a fantastic prominence activity in one area of the sun which I am absolutely dying to show you, and I will in good time. Now, you are on YouTube. Please feel free to use the live chat. If you've set up your YouTube, if you have your own YouTube channel, you can chat live to me by typing in the chat box. I will do my best to pick up any comments or questions that you may have and respond to them throughout the thing. Bear in mind, I am on my own. I am operating the scope, I'm operating the webcasting software, but I will do my best to get back to you. I'm sure there are some of the Highlands Astronomical Society observing team viewing in, and they can also help me respond to some of your questions or queries. So, the eclipse is due to start about 8 minutes past 10, so I've got a little bit of time to give you some background information as to what it is you're going to be seeing today. Oh, Mrs. Livings, welcome, Primary 1 to 3 from Brora Primary School. And also from Thurso in Caithness. Well, welcome to you all. I hope you young guys in primary school, I bet you've never ever seen your nearest star before, so you're in for a special treat today. Please just ask your teacher any questions or make any comments, and I'm sure Mrs. Livings will put them into the chat, and I will try my best to get back to you. Oh, we've got people from Berkshire as well. Anyway, I better get on with this, what I was going to do. What is it that we are going to be looking at today? Well, it's a solar eclipse. These happen quite frequently, but you don't always get a full eclipse. Today, we are going to get a partial eclipse, but it's still bonny, and there's still a lot of science in the event that I can take you through. Now, this eclipse is called an annular solar eclipse, and that is because the moon, which is in between the Earth and the sun, it blocks the light from the sun, and some people who are directly in its path, they get the full shadow of the moon landing on them. Now, the moon is a bit closer than it needs to be to completely block the sun. So today, these people that are in the full shadow, the umbra as it's called, they will actually see a small ring round the outside of the moon. The ring of fire, that is called. And this is called an annular eclipse because the sun is not completely blotted out. We are not in the direct path of that full shadow, we are in the partial shadow. The penumbra is the technical name for that, but you don't need to know that. And that means that we don't see the whole shadow of the moon. We see a part of the moon. We see a bite out of our sun, and you're going to see that very, very clearly. The whole event takes about 2 hours. I'm sure you're not going to sit about for the whole 2 hours. Feel free to dip in and dip out, and you'll see the bite getting bigger and getting smaller as it goes past its maximum point. So we're based here. I'm based in Conan Bridge near Dingwall, but one of our observing team members, Pauline McRae, she presented this at our club meeting last Tuesday, and this shows you, so for Inverness, the partial eclipse is going to last for 2 hours and 26 minutes in total. It begins, so that is when you first start to see the moon going in front of the sun. It begins at just about 8 minutes, 9 minutes past 10 this morning, so not long to wait. It gets to its maximum coverage of the sun about 20 past 11, and up here this far north, the moon will be blocking out about 35% of the sun. You won't see anything, it won't dim the light in the sky or anything like that, but you will definitely see it on the camera that I have in the scope. The partial eclipse ends at about 25 to 1 this afternoon, and then that's it for quite a long period of time after that. So this is this is a diagram to show you what's happening. Here is our sun. So we've drawn it as a disk. It's actually a globe, a ball of burning gas or plasma. There's the moon. So at 10:08 in, what's that, about 15 minutes time roughly, it just looks as though it's touching the edge of the sun. At 10:40, so about half an hour later, you will see a distinct bite out of the sun, and that's because the moon is passing in front of the sun. At its maximum point, we will see a 35% of the sun's disk blocked. That's as much as we can see. As I said, the people in North America, they will see the moon completely in front of the sun, and they will see that ring of fire, the annular eclipse. The moon keeps passing in front of the sun, and the bite gets smaller on the other side. That's about midday. There's 20 past midday. It's starting to vanish, and by 25 to 1 this afternoon, our time, the eclipse will be over. So that's what I'm hoping to show you. Now, I went on to the National Solar Observatory webpage this morning because I wanted to see what the surface of the sun looked like and whether it'd be worth me showing you any other things. So I was amazed. This is from a telescope in the National Solar Observatory Network. This is based in Australia, and there are sunspots. There are areas of lightness there, plages or plaques they call those. There are prominences all over and all around the sun, and if the clouds stay away, I am going to be able to show you some of these things in addition to the eclipse, which I know you guys have joined us to see. So that is pretty much where we're at. Now, as I say, if you've got any questions, anything like that, just type them into the chat and I shall let you know. Oh, and there's Strathpeffer Primary School. Welcome. It's fantastic to see the primary schools coming in for this event. Normally I do a lot of school outreach, but because of all these restrictions due to the virus, I haven't been able to get out to the school. So it's wonderful to see you guys attending online, and you're most welcome. Feel free to ask your teachers questions, and I'm sure they will type them in, and I'll try my best to answer them. But I say I've got a team of supporters lurking in the background, and I'm sure they can help out as well. So let's go back. Let's go back to the sun. Here we go. I'm hoping you can all see that quite clearly. Now, can you see? You'll see it's red. It looks red, and that is because of the special telescope that I use. It has a red filter in it called a hydrogen alpha filter. The sun, as you may know, is mainly made up of hydrogen gas or hydrogen plasma, and it fuses at extremely high temperatures, high energies, and the hydrogen fuses together to make helium. Now, this filter in my scope can detect the red wavelength, the red light that gets emitted. Now, it'll vanish every so often. That's because a cloud's passing in front of it, and I'll try my best to adjust the settings so that you guys can continue to see it. Okay, so just bear with me. I don't know if you can see. This is overexposed, but I'll tell you what I have seen. Can you see that? That's a set of prominences coming off the side here. That's loops of hydrogen plasma leaping out of the sun, following all the magnetic fields, because there's a huge amount of energy in this sun. And those loops of energy, they loop up, and most of the time they fall back into the sun. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. I'm amazed at myself. I'm amazed at seeing this myself, should I say. Fantastic. It's going to be slightly difficult getting the right exposure, but you just have to bear with me. What I was going to try and show you, and this is typical, is the structure of the surface of the sun. I'm hoping that you can see that the surface of the chromosphere, this layer of the sun, it isn't smooth. It actually looks like orange peel. That's how we describe it. And all that is, it's all the energy, it's all the mass, it's bubbling up, all the fusing and hydrogen and everything, it's fusing up, it's bubbling like a boiling water in a pot. So it's not a smooth surface, it's very, very active. I'm hoping you can see that. It's very difficult. I'm also sitting in the sunlight inside my observatory, by the way. So it's very difficult to actually see it clearly. But there you go. I'm hoping you can see the orange peel. I'm going to try and zoom in for you. See if you can see that better. Can you see all the grainy, granular, orange peel looking structure? That is the bubbling, boiling, fusing activity of the sun. Absolutely fantastic, to be honest with you. And I think I can see a sunspot. And I'm trying to see, I think there's a sunspot area. There's certainly one here. See, sunspot area there. These are areas which are cooler on the surface of the sun, so they show up a bit darker. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm going to just get this full center again because I don't necessarily want to miss the start of the event. I'm also trying to keep the sun in the center of the frame. It's certainly not going that way. So you'll see me turning about all the time, right? So I might have my back to you. I apologise for that. But I'm trying to control the scope and the information screens that I've got for you. Because the view is for you guys, not necessarily for me. Although I'm an amateur astronomer, my real hook is astrophotography, and I love to photograph the sky and all the objects in the sky, and the sun is one of them. So at times I will be actually taking photographs of some of these screens. I can see an area. Can you see an area down here? There we go. There's an area of activity in the sun. You can probably see it lighter. I'm going to try and zoom in on that for you. Let's really zoom in on it, shall we? See what we see. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Can you guys see that? So there's something happening there. These are interesting areas. People who study the sun. There's a sunspot. There's one there. They look at these areas because the sun, sometimes you get flares, very rapid brightenings of high energy. So there's Paul from Thursday Case. When will we see the Northern Lights? Well, Paul, you know we're right in the middle of summer. We are that far north, and you're north. You're even further north than I am in Conan Bridge near Dingwall. It will be back end of September, October, before you really get a chance to see the Northern Lights again. It's just so light here now. But the equinoxes, the times when we're equal periods of day and night, those are when the Earth doesn't protect its magnetic field doesn't protect itself as well, so the Northern Lights usually become more active. So autumn. There's Lisa Pattington. She's on. She's one of our Highlands Astronomical Society tech team, and she's just let me know that she's in the front garden with 2 cameras connected. So she's determined to get photographs of this event. Lisa's also saying August can be good for aurora. I think you've got to stay up a bit late, but if you can stay up late, then you've got a chance. If you join our club, of course, we have a WhatsApp group, and we notify each other of events as they're happening. So you can be lying in your bed, and you get an alert, and out you go with your camera, and you can go and see it for yourself. Astronomy clubs are great things for helping people observe the sky and teach them how to do it. Right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the full screen again because the eclipse is about to happen. Now, it's not quick. It's not rapid. I'm not sure which way up my image is. Okay, so you guys can help me and work and try and look for when the moon bite appears. Because in the diagram I showed you it was going to happen up here. But I think my image might be flipped like a mirror. So it might be on the other side. But if you guys can help me, I'll let this cloud pass. There's a cloud coming in, typical. But we still have about 6-7 minutes before it happens, so we've got plenty of time. So I'm just gonna Paul, you can join the WhatsApp group, but you need to be a member of the club to join the WhatsApp group. So there's a little thing there. I will put a slide up later about how you can get in touch with us and how to join the club. It's very, very reasonable membership fees because we want to make amateur astronomy accessible for all. Orju, oh hello Orju. It's nice to see people that I've met before. Alison, great pictures. Are your skies clear or are you seeing through the cloud? No, my skies are actually they're getting clear. I've got a little bit of cloud. When you see it going bright like this, Alison, that is because the cloud has gone and the exposure settings I'm using are too much for the light. There you go, right. Because I've got no cloud at the moment, I've gone back to the proper exposure, as I call it, and you're seeing the surface of the sun and its features. And I'm hoping that soon you will start to see a wee bite coming out of the moon. As I say, I'm not sure where it's going to happen. Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? Or is it there? So you guys can look for me. See you guys in the primary school? You just keep watching and just shout out when you see it. I'm sure your teachers will let me know who saw it first. Right, Orju. This is the thing. I'm not absolutely sure which side it will start on. I think I flipped my image using on the software. I can flip it quite easily, but I'm not sure. So we're just going to have to look all the way around and hope we can see it. It should be top right. You're absolutely right, Lisa. But I'm just looking at my camera software, and I have got, it says flipped vertical. So I don't know whether that's the right way. The trouble is with astronomy, I'm using all kinds of mirrors in my optical system, and they turn them left to right and upside down and back to front, and I can never work out which way it should be. But I'm sure we'll get there. Right, I'll better just boost that. There's a little cloud come in front of it again. So let's hope that doesn't stay there too long, but it looks like it's going to clear very soon. And don't do what I just did. I just went and looked up at the sky and looked almost directly at the sun. And I've now got a ghostly image in front of my eyes. We all do it, no matter how expert we are. Yes, Lisa, that follows on from the conversation we had yesterday about working out which is left and right and upside down and whatnot. Yeah. Hi, Anthony. Anthony's on WhatsApp. This is Anthony's one of our most expert and enthusiastic observers and solar observers, and he's saying that the first contact should be about now, and that he's got clear patches. Anthony lives in Cromarty, so Cromarty is well known for having clear skies. We all get jealous. So here we go. Audrey, I've watched eclipses before and different streams and had it on different slides. Actually, you know, this is not the only live stream, of course. There are many live streams being put out of this on the world, so you can always have several tabs open on your computer or device. Now, you see, the cloud's clearing. So, I'm going to just adjust that, adjust the exposure a little bit. No, maybe too much. And can anyone see a slight dent in any parts of the sun? Because if you see a slight dent, a slight black dent, then you'll know that that is the moon coming in front of it. I can't quite see anything yet. When there are members of our astronomy club, we all get very enthusiastic when we're watching events like this, and you can hear us shouting with delight sometimes when we actually find something. Yes, Anthony does like to let us know that he has got a wonderful viewing sight, but that's his fortune. That surface of the moon, see if all that cloud vanished, that surface of the moon, there is, of the sun, there is masses of things going on in it. I really do want to take the time to show you that, but let's try and see if we can see the eclipse starting. Lisa's saying she can see something. Oh, I think you're right, Lisa. Right, guys. I think Lisa has been the first here to spot it. Can you see a little bite? Can you see a little bite out of it here? There it goes. Thank you, Lisa. Well done. Now, you just keep watching this area, people, and you will see it get bigger, and it will probably start to spread across that way, I think. Brilliant. So we've got the right day and the right time, and we're pointing in the right direction. You can't do much more than that when you're an amateur astronomer. Anthony, for all the praise we just gave him, he's now indicating that he's got clouds, but they're not big clouds, Anthony. They're going to vanish. They're patchy clouds. They're not even real Scottish clouds, are they? Oh, wonderful. Look at that. Now, I'm hoping the primary schools can see this. Lisa, you need to get a different diary if you were starting to look for this yesterday. Now, can you guys see it? Can people look at that? Isn't that wonderful? I'm sure for many of you this is probably your first look at the sun close up and also your first eclipse. And this is the safe way, the very, very safe way to do it. I'm going to drop that exposure a bit to try and get the grain in the sun a bit better. We have some of our members are not with us online just now. They have their telescopes with special filters, as I mentioned earlier, and cameras attached. They're photographing this so that they will be able to post those pictures on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, Highlands Astronomical Society, and I'm sure you'll see many pictures of this posted today, later on today. There's a lot of very enthusiastic amateur astrophotographers in our club, and again, if you want to learn how to do that for yourself, join the club and we will be very glad to teach you and support you. If you don't have any equipment or limited equipment, we are very keen to show you how to use our equipment. We have a club camera, club scopes, so you can always practice with that. Very pleased with this. I'm going to zoom in on that just to see if there's anything you can see around the edge. I don't know if you can. I've never done this before. This is my first live webcast with the moon. Can you see that now? Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Do you also see the image? You see it? It looks like it's dancing about a little bit. That's because there's quite a bit of moisture in the air and different temperatures high up, and it's causing a bit of turbulence. If you've ever looked at a black tarmac road in the heat and you see these little mirages, you see the heat lines, it's the same kind of thing. It's a bit like, looking at something at the bottom of a swimming pool. You get a bit of, there's a bit of wobbliness because of the movement in the water, and you get movement in the air, and that's causing that little bit of wobble. But you know what? That isn't too bad. So there you go. There's the edge of the moon. You can now see the edge of the moon against the bright surface of the sun. That's good, Amanda. I'm glad because it's great to get excited about this. This is natural. This is natural things, natural stuff. And yes, we're on a computer. People I know get criticised for being on the computer all the time and things, but this is using it to view, a natural event. And these are two massive bodies, as we know. I mean, the moon's pretty big. The sun is just huge. And these are, in space, and we are able to observe them from the comfort of our home or classroom, or even on the bus if you're on a tablet and things. When do you see this in Indiana? If you're in Indiana, Shan, you should be able to see it now, but in actual fact, you will be in Indiana. I think you will see a bigger bite out of it. I'm pretty sure. This is happening. I mean, it's not identical times all around the world, but it's within minutes. Depending on what angle you're viewing it at. India. Sorry. My goodness. So it is. India. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it in India. I think you are probably turned too far away from this. Are you is it night time or? I don't know. If it's night time, you won't be able to see it. This has to be during the day. Right, I'm going to zoom out again, let you get a feel for the scale of what's going on here. There you go. So how are we doing for time now? That's only what's the time? 10:15. So this has only been going for about 6-7 minutes. So it's got a long time to go. Eventually, right, you're going to see that the moon's going to take that, about that size of a bite, out of the sun. 35%. I wonder if any of the primary school children are there, mums and dads or uncles and aunties, brothers and sisters watching this. And Pauline, right? Pauline is, as I say, Pauline was the person who presented the details of this event at our club meeting last Tuesday. And Pauline just now has got her telescope set up with a specialised solar filter in the front of it. Unfortunately, she's saying that there's no sun, there's thick clouds keep appearing from the south. Well, you know, this side of the Keswick Bridge, Pauline, we're always a bit more fortunate than you guys. I'm sure. I'm looking at the weather, and I think it's clearing. It's clearing down towards the south now. So I don't think it'll be long, Pauline, before you actually see something. And have you got a camera attached to it, Pauline? You can let me know on the text if you want. Oh, going to try and project it. Oh my! If you projected it with a pinhole, I don't know the actual size. When I do that, I usually just stick a pin in to a bit of cardboard, and then I just hold it against like a white wall or something like that, or a black wall, any colour wall, and I just try and get it so that it maximises it. If the hole's too big, it starts to distort the image at the edge. It's not so clear. So I don't know. I actually don't know, Orjo. The thing to do is to, someone just try it. Just try a pinhole, try a bigger screw or a tip of a screwdriver, and just find out what size a hole works. Then let me know, because that would be useful for letting our club members know. I've got more WhatsApp comments coming in. It looks like me and Anthony and Lisa are in the right part of the world to be doing this. So there's a bit of fortune, a bit of good fortune when you're doing amateur astronomy. Yeah, Pauline's just, Orju, Pauline has just confirmed what I said. The pinhole has to be sharp, has to be, pretty small, I think, basically. If it's too big, it becomes blurry. So that's fair enough. So definitely try with the smallest pinhole you can to start with. And then I think it's about getting the right distance away from your screen or your wall or your blackboard or whatever you're trying to project it on. Oh, wonderful. There are people on Twitter saying there are parts of Scotland not safely wrapped in cloud today, and there's a live feed on YouTube here, and Sean Batty, the weatherman, and some of his watchers, they're sharing this. They're sharing this link. So superb. If the more viewers, the merrier. It's nice. It's nice for the Scottish Highlands to be the centre of attention, isn't it? Good, Audrey. That's it. Yeah, you give it a go, and as I say, let us know. Let me know via the YouTube chat if it works, and we'll obviously let people know that that's another way of doing it. That technique, if it works, Audrey, will be good. You will be able to pick up large sunspot groups as well. So, once the eclipse is over, you can still use that technique as a safe technique to see what is on the surface of the sun, especially sunspots. It's also, I know there's primary school children watching as well, and their teachers. The pinhole method is a safe method. I mean, you're not looking at the sun at all with your naked eye or any optical instrument. So it's safe. You just have to watch you don't, prick your finger with a pin, but that's a minor thing. Yeah, Pauline, it is. It's good, I have to say. I'm really, really pleased with this. It's not very often. Pauline and I, we're kind of enthusiastic club members, to say the least. And we've organised to many events, and we've been to many events, and it's amazing how you get there, and of course the cloud comes in, or something happens, and you just can't see what it is you're looking at. This is wonderful to be able to do. The weather forecast wasn't great, I do have to admit that. It wasn't great, but you know what? We're optimists in our club, and we just went ahead with it, and I'm so glad we did. I am. Can you? I'm hoping people can see. I know the eclipse is wonderful, but I'm just going to point out again. Can you see? Look at all this orange peel. Can you see? The surface of the sun is not smooth. There is masses of activity. It's like a boiling cauldron. It's not, of course, boiling. It's much more complex than that. But think of it as a boiling cauldron. Looks like orange peel. You can see this wonderful area. There is some real activity going on here. Can you see this? Can you see this little hairy line? This little line. I'm going to zoom in that because this is something of particular interest. Now I have to find it. I think I've got it. Can you see this? Can you see this loop? This little line. That's called a filament. Now what that is, that's hydrogen plasma. And it's looping up above the surface of the sun. And it's looping up because of the magnetic field, the magnetic forces in the sun. And what we're doing is we're looking down on it. Now what I'm going to show you soon is we're going to look at one of those on the side of the sun. Now I'm going to deliberately overexpose this for you guys because this is something spectacular, to be honest. Right, I have overexposed the sun. Can you see down here? Look at this. There is masses of activity on the sun just now. And you are looking at one of those filaments, but you're looking at it edge on. And this is the hydrogen plasma, hydrogen gas looping off the sun. I'm going to zoom on this to let you see because this really is something spectacular. Look at that. Can you see this? What I showed you before, that little hair, that little smudge, that was you looking down on the top of one of these areas of huge activity. These loops of energy are, I'm guessing it's about 3 times the diameter of our Earth. These are huge areas of activity. I'm going to just lower that exposure because there's some detail in the other one I want to see. I have to go quiet from time to time because I need to concentrate when I'm doing this. I just want to get the exposure just right. Oh, look at this. Can you see the structure? Can you see the structure? I wonder if I can force this because the skies are pretty good. I'm going to force the magnification even more. Can you see the wonderful structure in these prominences leaping off the surface of the sun? Isn't that fantastic? This is great. You guys, I'm telling you, you guys are seriously lucky today. This is the sun is full of activity. The weather I was going to say is pretty good. I've got a bit of cloud coming over, so we might have to have. I might be able to get a rest and a cup of tea in a short while. But anyway, that's pretty good. I'm going to put the sun back to full, and I'll put it on to bright so you can still see the actual eclipse. Okay, so there you go. I'm hoping you're enjoying this. It's very strange because I'm sitting here in my home observatory in my back garden in Conan Bridge, and I'm talking to my screens, and I'm just hoping that there are people actually listening there. I can't see because I see some interaction. Hi Michael, I like the wow comment. That's exactly how I feel about this. I think it's amazing that nowadays that the technology that ordinary people can basically buy and set up, coupled with the internet, brings something that only university departments, astronomy, astrophysics departments could have done, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and now we can do this in our own homes and back gardens. It's fantastic. So again, I keep pushing the astronomy club, but this is the type of thing we do, and we encourage people to take part in. We can coach people to do it. We can enable them to use our equipment and do this for themselves. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, I think, give you some information as about our club. Okay, so I'm going to give you this because the cloud's just in there just now, so I may as well take the opportunity. This is our club. If you want to become a member of it, or you're interested, there is the email address of our membership secretary. These are the subs. They're very, very reasonable. £25 for an adult. Junior membership, under 18, is only £2.50 a year. So, and family memberships or household memberships, they're £40 a year. So, if you're interested, please get in touch with us. I'll cut and paste that email address into the YouTube chat. So, if you want to get in touch with us and find out more without any commitment, please do. Okay, I'm going to go back to the sun again because there she goes. Thanks, Alison. That's really nice to get that kind of feedback. Alison's enjoying the pictures and commentary. We're moving up to the Highlands soon, and we'll be joining your club. Can't wait. Where are you currently based, Alison? Right, I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to adjust the exposure again because this, as you can probably tell, the cloud has gone, and it doesn't need as much exposure. The type of camera I have is it's a specialist camera, which I actually use mainly for photographing the very faint objects in the dark sky, galaxies, nebula, all kinds of things. But I've worked out a way that I can stick it on the end of a solar scope and get this type of image, so I'm very pleased with it. I think you can probably see that that bite is getting pretty big now. That is probably about 7%, maybe more than that, of the sun's surface is now blocked by the edge of the moon. I'm going to zoom in on the edge again because I want to see, what I'm trying to do is I want to see if I can see any features on the edge of the moon's surface. Like, you know, any mountains or... It's hard to say, but you know what? There might be a mountain there. When I play this back, this YouTube will be recorded, and it will be available on our YouTube channel, the one that you're on. So again, if you want to find out about things that are going on, publicly available webcasts, again, subscribe to this channel, and you'll be notified of them. If you're a member, you get notified of every single event because we do some members only events. But if you aren't a member, we also do several public events throughout the year, and you'll be invited to them if you subscribe to the channel because you'll see them being set up on the channel. So there you go. Yeah, I think, see, that isn't wobbling. I think that's a high feature on the edge of the moon, and I want to, after all this is over and I look at the recording, I'm going to try and identify what that particular feature on the edge of the moon might be. It's definitely something. That's not just a wobble. That definitely seems to be staying there. So that could be, you know, a mountain peak, or the edge of a crater, or the edge of a ridge on the moon. And there are plenty of moon maps nowadays, and you know, like the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter or Observer, they have very, very high resolution, detailed images of the moon's surface, and you can easily identify some very, very detailed features if you happen to photograph them and you want to know what they are. Cool. So let's go back to the full moon again. Ah, cool, Alison. Right, you're up on holiday. My goodness, Berkshire to Caithness, that's a fair hike. Okay. Right, I'm just going silent for a wee while. I'll leave the image on. I need to go and get myself a glass of water. So just enjoy the image. I will be back in a short while. Right, that's me back again. Oh, hello, Mick. How are you doing? I see you're clouded out. I'm not going to brag about it because I'm actually looking and there is a bit of cloud coming in from the west. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Um, but yeah, just enjoy. I think this is the first time we've had over 100 people watching one of our webcasts. 108 I've got at the moment. I'm rather impressed with that. I realise I've been talking non-stop for about half an hour. Some people would say that's not unusual, but yeah, thirsty work. Hello, Sophie, from a very cloudy Glasgow, she says. Are we the only part of the country that has has clear skies? Well, that bite is getting pretty big now. I'm going to go back to Pauline's uh, slideshow she did because I just want to see where we are in the whole event here. Right, where are we? Okay, I'm just going to fade it over. Right, that is 10:40. So is that 10:40? So Pauline, that is. I don't know. It doesn't say how much. Does it say how much it's occluded? Anyway, I'd say that is pretty much where we are. Yeah, cool. Send some clear skies to Murray. I would if I could. You know I would. But you know, second best. At least you're getting to see it live in the part of the world. I've gone and pushed the button the wrong way, as I always do. The trouble with working with mirrors and lens correctors is that you almost always select the wrong direction button on your scope control. But there we go. I think that's pretty central. Yeah, that's a fair chunk. I think we're going to lose that little filament area that I was particularly interested in. I think that moon is going to go over it. Oh, can you see the clouds coming in? You see them? Oh, dearie me. I'm just going to have a look out through. Yep, that cloud looks just a little bit more substantial, so we'll just see what happens. Right, that's me. I'm forcing the exposure a bit, but you can still see it. What I'll do is I shall talk you through a bit of how we're actually managing to view this. So I'm going to go back to, excuse me for that, that was me making a mess of something. I'm going to go to some information slides. So I'll fill in a bit while the cloud passes, hopefully it passes. Right, where are we? Well, we're here, we're at near Dingwall, Conan Bridge near Dingwall. We're very high latitude, 57.5 degrees north, and we're just west of the Greenwich line at 0, so about 4.5 degrees west. That puts us, there was a question about northern lights earlier. Yeah, that puts us, we're in a good position. We're in a good position to see northern lights, and we can see them pretty strong as well, pretty bright. Something else that's very good at this latitude and just now is a phenomenon, a thing to observe very late at night called noctilucent clouds, night shining clouds. and they're a wonderful sight high in the sky. Any time from about 11 o'clock at night till about possibly 2:30 or so in the morning. So you have to be up very late. Not really for primary school children, I'd have to say. Although some people might waken up during the night. But anyway, it's worth having a look at those. And they photograph well. You can photograph them with smartphones as well nowadays. That's everyone informing me that there's cloud. Oh well, we'll just go on. Right, now so that's where I am. This is the observatory I'm sitting in. So I'm sitting in about a 2 metre wide rotating dome. You can see the shutter. So I can open the shutter and that lets in just the amount of light I need. I can minimise light pollution by turning this. I can focus on just the bit of sky I'm wanting to look at. These little pods house all my equipment, my computers, my equipment storage, all kinds of things. And this is the inside of it. This is the big scope I use for observing the night sky. Big mount. It's so it's 11-inch scope, huge. It's got a very sturdy mount. It's controlled with this handset. I can point it, select an object, point it, and it controls it. I can also control it with my computer, and I have a guide scope, which when I'm taking photographs, it keeps it absolutely pinpoint accurate. Somebody's got a photograph. I'm just, my WhatsApp pinged. Very curious. Aha. Oh, well done. Is that Pauline? Well done. Pauline has a photograph of the eclipse, so we have got at least one photograph. Excellent. Really pleased. Oh, and yes, well done, Lisa. Oh, that's a cracking. Lisa has actually used the cloud. So the cloud has gone in front of the sun and it's dimmed it just enough that she can use her camera to detect the sun through the cloud with the bite out of it. Very, very clever, actually. Oh, I like that. I like that very much, Lisa. Well done. Well done. So that's my, anyway, that's my scope. As I say, we'll just fill it in a bit here until I get rid of my cloud. This is the kit. This is the kit I'm using today. This is the special solar scope. And it's a 60mm refractor, it's called. So it's lenses, not a mirror. But it comes back here. There's a hydrogen alpha filter in here. That's what allows me to pick up the wavelength of hydrogen light. So you can see all the features on the surface of the sun. And out it comes here. Now this has got an eyepiece on it, so when I'm looking at it just using my eye, this is what I use. But what I have, instead of the eyepiece today, I have this very specialist astronomy camera. It's a cooled camera, and that fits in place of the eyepiece, and that's connected to the computer, and the software is what you're seeing. Okay, so that's that, and that's just another view of it from the side. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the sun because the sun's appeared again. And we're here to view the eclipse, not my equipment here. So look at that. That's yeah, rather a big bite now, guys, isn't it? Excellent. 126 people. I hope all you guys employers are giving you permission to use the computers for this. I remember the days. I remember the days. Can you see? Can you see these prominences? Right, I've deliberately left it overexposed. Look at those prominences. These are the plasma and the magnetic flux, in the magnetic flux, leaping off the sun, coming back. There's another tiny one there. Can you see it there? Another tiny one there. And that's what I normally look for and photograph. But that is stunning. I'm going to have to zoom in on this again and let you guys see this, because I know you enjoyed it. Look at that. That really is. That is a remarkable structure. After the eclipse is over, I am going to try and actually photograph that, because the way I photograph it, I take like a video clip and it takes like 1,000 or 2,000 frames, and I use software. I stack the images on top of each other, and it brings out the fine detail of that type of structure and gets rid of all the noise in the image. I think that would make a wonderful picture for next month's club meeting. Stunning stuff. You guys probably think we see this kind of thing all the time, but we don't, to be honest with you. Seriously, you guys are very, very fortunate today to see activity like that. And I know Anthony's on. Anthony's got his own scope at Cromitty. In fact, it was himself that encouraged me to purchase this solar observing equipment. And Anthony will definitely be looking at the structure of that. Oh no, oh dear. He's had 10 seconds of clarity. Cromitty is obviously not performing well today. Sorry about that, Anthony. I'm sure it will clear up shortly. Thank you, Orju. Yes, it is absolutely amazing. I completely agree with you. I think it's been absolutely fantastic. Right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the full sun again. See, oh, jeez, that's very big, isn't it? Right, I'm going to try and reduce the. There we go. Let's get it down to proper viewing exposures. There we go. Let's get it just so we can see the detail, the structures on the surface of the sun, because they're very interesting. I think as well, see if you look in this area here, I think there's a sunspot or activity group there as well, you know. There's definitely something in that part of the sun. I'll also be having a much closer look at this, as I say, after the eclipse. There's also something there, isn't there? Cool. The sun, like the moon, one of our observers, Dave Davidson, he uses a phrase, the more you look at it, the more you see. And that is so, so true. And it's not just about the sun and the moon, it's about everything astronomical. Whether you're using telescopes with eyepieces or telescopes with cameras attached, the more and more and more you look, you get better at picking out something that looks different. And then you study it and you search for it, you know, on the internet or in your astronomy books or encyclopedias, and it encourages you to find out a lot about, you know, the natural world that's around you and above you. Fantastic. Thanks, Mick. I am pleased, as you can probably tell. Now, is this Thursday? Now, I think Sigma is Murray's astronomy club. And Sigma, you have your monthly club meeting tomorrow, I believe. It'll be interesting to see if any of your members, Mick, just happen to be in a cloud-free or at least a patchy cloud area and have managed to pick up some images from today. Oh, last week. Ah. I know why I missed it. I was visiting my brother in Brecon. It's the first time I'd seen him for 8 months, so I think it's not unfortunately, that took priority for me. It was lovely seeing my brother again. Well, isn't that a big bite? I'm going to zoom in on the moon's edge again to see if I can see anything. I'm going to zoom up to 150%. That's maybe too much. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, I'll go to 100. Let's not be greedy. And I'm going to have a look and see if we can see on the surface of the moon. Let's see if we can see any high points. I think you can see that the surface of the moon, it isn't exactly smooth. It's not a sort of, it's not a solid, steady line. You can see raises and dents, and that is good. What you're seeing is the silhouette of the moon's edge against the background of the sun's surface. And you're definitely seeing dips and rises. I wonder if I can find that peak again. There was a peak, wasn't there? Let's find that, see if we can find it. Yeah, see, that's not boiling, as I call it. It's not boiling as much. It's definitely steadier. So those dips and peaks and inclines. Oh, there's a, now you see this one? There's definitely, see, there's a peak there. I think you can see that could be like the edge of, that could be a mountainside on, it could be a ridge, it could be the edge of a crater. I wonder what it is. I'm so curious now. You see, after this, I'm going to have to go back to all my moon maps and have a good look. I hope this is interesting. I hope you're finding this. I hope you're finding this interesting. Aberdeen Astronomical Society. Nice views. Thank you for that. Thick cloud in Stonehaven. Well, you guys, you're on the east coast, and whether you have cloud or whether you have har. I was down in Brechin last week. Now that's 7 miles inland, and every morning started off with a har. It burned off about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I have to say, but yeah, it was a bit harry. Okay, let's go back to the full image. There we go. I'm wondering how many of you this is actually the first time you've seen an eclipse or a partial eclipse up this close. That's Rona. Rona Fraser is another of our enthusiastic observing team. And Rona has just let us know via WhatsApp. Yep, managing to see it occasionally. So Rona, like most of us, is having some cloud coming in and then gaps in it. So that's excellent, That's typical. We let's be honest, we live on a huge island in the UK in the north of Scotland, and we have maritime weather. So you end very, very rare that you end up with a completely cloud-free day or night. When you do, it's fantastic, by the way. It's lovely. But this is fairly typical, and you just have to be patient and enjoy the gaps in the clouds and enjoy what you're seeing. So Rona, yes, I hope you're enjoying your viewing experience now, because I think you were a bit frustrated at it a bit earlier on, and Pauline as well. Pauline definitely seems to be. I think she's getting some, although she says a second of sunlight, so maybe she's not getting quite as much clear sky as we're getting here in the wonderful centre of the universe here in Conan Bridge. Ah, that's good. You see, there's Audrey. I see it West Aberdeenshire in broken cloud. And again, I would say, Audrey, that is very typical. Broken cloud, not unusual for this part of the world. Yeah, the bite is top right when you look at it. That, Audrey, is because you have all your equipment the right way up, whereas I don't. But I'm just going to leave it like this because I've got kind of used to it this way now. When you're doing photography, it doesn't actually matter which way round or upside down or back to front the image is, because it's easy to it's easy to sort it by turning the image around the inverted commas right way when you're doing image processing. That's if it's important to you. Some people absolutely demand it's in the right position, but to be honest with you, as long as I see the feature I'm looking at, I'm quite content with it being whatever way. Now, I'm just looking, there's another area I've found. Remember I showed you that filament, which has now just been hidden by the moon, that big filament. I think this area here, I think that's another filament, Pauline is good at spotting these things, and Anthony. So you might be able to confirm or disagree with me what you think. I'm going to zoom in, as I always do, and I'm going to have a look at that area. Aha. Yeah, see, I think that's a filament. I think that would be a small prominence on the edge. If we were seeing that on the edge of the sun, I think that would be one of those small prominence, the little triangular shaped peaky ones. It's definitely not a sunspot. I think that's a filament. It's not something on my lenses because that would move. So yeah, I think that's another filament. Cool. Oh, you see the cloud coming over? Look at that. And you're absolutely right. That's how I could have worked out that my image wasn't the right way, because I have just realised I know the way the clouds are moving. So I should have set it up so that the clouds were moving the way I saw them. That's what I should have done. Every day is a school day, even for us so-called experienced observers. Let's get this back. It's just drifting. The scope controls the image, but sometimes it does drift. I've obviously not got the speed. The way the scope stays on target is there's a mount in it, and all the motors, they move at the same speed as the Earth is rotating. And that way, the object you've found should stay in the absolute centre of the of the scope and of the camera. But if you haven't quite got the speed right, then it stops. Now, there is a bit. Oh, I know what that is. Right. There we go. I know what was causing the problem. There's another little, what I call a schoolboy error. I forgot to turn my dome. So the shutter, the opening, was actually, the shadow of that was starting to get in front of the scope. There you go. So we've now got it back again. You see, doing live webcasting, it just shows you all the mistakes you make. You're open. You're open to showing all your all your mistakes. Not a bad thing. I've kept the exposure up because I am absolutely fascinated by those prominences. Roughly, where the cursor is. I think these are quite amazing. They're huge, actually. Absolutely huge. Right, let's get this in the right position again. Now, since we've been watching, remember that little prominence that was at the top? Look at that. That prominence. See, this shows you how active our sun is. That little prominence, which was about the size of that one, it has grown, and it's also leaping much more off the surface of the sun. So I'm gonna zoom in on this. There you go. Look at that. Can you see that? Try and center a bit more. Look at that. Can you see that little prominence has developed in the very short time we've been looking at it in the last half hour or so, and it's actually starting to, it looks like it's leaping. It's an illusion, but it's looking like it's leaping off the sun. So there's a loop there. There's probably another loop going sort of down the back a bit. There's a bit of cloud coming in front of it, but isn't that amazing? The sun is obviously very, very energetic. Ah, hello, Pete. Oh, Pete, you say you're in Elgin A and E. My goodness. I hope you're okay, or I hope the person you're with is okay. Orju, thank you. That is, Orju is projecting the image through a pinhole. Remember he said he was going to set up a pinhole, a very simple, basic pinhole camera, which is just a hole in a piece of card, and then you project the light onto a surface. And what he's saying is that the bite is in the same place as I am showing it. And he's absolutely right. It's got, because the image reverses itself through a pinhole. You know, depending on where you focus it. So thank you for that, Orju. But what I'm really pleased at, it's a very simple and safe way of doing it. I'm really pleased. That's good. Good. Isn't that amazing? I don't know whether Anthony's got his Lunt solar scope out and he's looking at it. He's a visual observer. He is, and he's got a fantastic ability to pick out and identify and describe detail, whether that be of the sun or of objects in the night sky. When I first started this pastime, which became a major hobby, there was Anthony and there was another guy called Martin de Vries, who many of you will know actually. That's a fair bite out of the moon now. I'm trying to think in Pauline's. I'm going to go to Pauline's. Slides and just work out where we are in the. Excuse me again. I just moved that too far. Maximum eclipse is 11:19 British Summer Time. So, in actual fact, we are not far away. I'm just going to let you see this. Okay, so this was the diagram. This is what Pauline presented at the other week's monthly club meeting. And this diagram shows that the biggest bite will be out of the sun at 11:19. So we don't have that long to go, I don't think. Let's see if I can find the time on the computer. 11:06. So we're only less than a quarter of an hour away from the point of maximum partial eclipse. So let's get back to it. There you go. If any of you, feel free to do a screen dump, take a print screen, and you can print or publish or post the images on your school websites or your personal websites or Facebook pages or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever you use. Please feel free to do that. Just do the courtesy of giving the club, Highlands Astronomical Society, just do the courtesy of giving it the credit for helping you get the image. That'd be most appreciated. But as I say, feel free to print or do anything with these images that you want, especially the schools. Nice to pin them up on your walls or in your corridors, so lets you let people see what activities you've been getting up to in the school day. In fact, I think, well, I know that there's astronomy on the primary school curriculum, because I've given talks and presentations and toolbox talks to a couple of the classes in my local schools, and I know it's appreciated. Right, I've got a bit of cloud coming in again, so I'm going to have to. I don't think I can do much. I'm going to try and boost the exposure, see if I can do anything with it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Somebody asked me whether my scope sees through clouds. Well, it doesn't really, but it's so sensitive to, even faint amount of light that I can, almost artificially boost it. The only thing is when the cloud goes away, it does tend to overpower the image in the screen a bit. Oh, look at those! Look at that prominence. It's like a bit of broccoli. Best way I can describe it. A green tree. Right, Alison, that's good to know. You can see it in Berkshire now. What are you? I was just going to ask you, Alison. What are you looking through? What equipment are you using to actually view it down in Berkshire? Pete's wishing he'd booked the day off now. The thing is, Pete, we all know we looked at the weather forecast and it didn't look particularly good, did it? But for once, the wrong forecast has actually worked in our favour. It so often works the wrong way around for us amateur astronomers, doesn't it? Oh, Angela, you're very welcome. It's a shame you're clouded out in Caithness. I got notified from Gordon quite late on yesterday evening that you could see that your forecast was definitely going to be poor. Yeah, this is now. There's a thing I just saw in the chat there. There are, right. Although we're Highlands Astronomical Society and we are fortunate with our weather, and we are obviously webcasting this. I'm going to try and hold on before I continue. I'm just going to see if I can get any more image out of this. Well, now I'm up to a whole second of exposure, which actually isn't a lot. Yeah, so they're letting us know that, right, so we're Highlands Astronomical Society and we have are having a successful live observing webcast. But in the north of Scotland, there are many clubs and amateur clubs and amateur astronomy groups, and we have a very loosely formed North of Scotland Amateur Astronomy Association, NOSA, not NASA, and we all work together. We help each other out. When the virus locked us all down, we didn't know how to get on, and it was actually Sigma, it was Murray, that got the Zoom webcast idea going, and they helped us all take part and use it, and it's been a wonderful success. But the clubs, for example, are Highlands Astronomical Society, Sigma, which is Murray's Astronomy Club, Caithness Astronomy Group, Aberdeen Astronomical Association, North Ronaldsay Astronomy Group. There are actually another two. There are Caithness Astronomy Group, and there is Stornoway Astronomical Society as well. They regularly contribute to all our meetings, often by submitting amateur photographs, images, and things like that. But they also take part and attend our online meetings. So a really, really good cooperation between all the North of Scotland clubs and groups and individuals as well. Lisa's just letting us know on live chat that she's got a bunch of photographs. Now, Lisa's from, she's stateside, she's from America, North America, United States. So I'm guessing a bunch is quite a large amount, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've got a bit of cloud here now. So you see, I told you can't get too cocky when you're doing amateur astronomy. I've got cloud, and I've got a lot of cloud, and even 2 seconds isn't getting through this. So I'm going to boost it. Let's try 6 seconds. I think that would be quite amazing if we got anything, to be honest. Yeah, struggling. Okay, the cloud is too thick at the moment, so I think I might just take an opportunity. Oh, there we go. The minute I mention it, no, I'm not getting a chance to take an opportunity to have a break. Whoa, gee. It's a tiny little gap in the cloud. It's not going to last long. We are just about at the point of maximum blocking of the sun by the moon for us. So at the moment, the sun is about 34-35% blocked. So about a third of the sun's disk is blocked by our moon because it's passing in between, directly in between the sun and the earth. Fantastic. And we are all able to see it. All 126 of us. I am very impressed. Thank you for coming along, by the way. I'm glad that our emails and Facebook announcements and Twitter feeds, all that, got that out to people. So I'm really, really pleased for that. Very good. Good. Alison's saying that she's viewing it with super safe glasses. There are glasses you can buy with solar filters in them so that you do not damage your eye, but you have to know that they are absolutely the right thing and that they're not damaged at all. Lisa must be doing the same. The neighbours are all coming over for viewing with special glasses. You're going to be making a few cups of tea and coffee, I think, Lisa, if that's the case. Aberdeen, a break in the clouds at last. Oh, Lochside Churches, I heard about you on Radio Scotland this morning. I'm very impressed with that, because I certainly didn't contact them, but they must have picked it up on one of our feeds. So, brilliant! Thank you for letting me know that. Superb. Fame at last. I have to say, this is the type of event that makes it all worthwhile. Yes, I'm an amateur astronomer and I'm a member of the club, but there's a few of us, on the committee and the tech teams, the support teams, that do quite a bit of extra work, and it's this that really does make it worthwhile, I'll be perfectly honest. Now, I'm just trying to get this image centered a bit better. Yeah, although the eclipse is great, I still cannot take my eyes off that huge huge prominence in the bottom. You have no idea how good that is. That is a superb prominence. I'm sure somebody somewhere will be currently taking a picture of it, but I am going to have a go at that this afternoon, I think. Okay, what is the time? 11:16. When did I say was the peak? 11:19. We are 3 minutes off the maximum blocking or partial blocking of our sun by our moon. So we're nearly at the peak. Just over an hour Yeah, about an hour and what 10, 12 minutes into from the very very start, when Lisa was the first person that saw that, or let us know that she saw that little tiny bite out of the bottom of the moon as we look at it. Of the sun, should I say? My goodness, the sun. Class 3G Physics, Fraserburgh Academy. Welcome, Claire. You're most welcome. Oh, Maryborough. Oh, Sandra, I recognise you from the Conan and Maryborough Now and Then group, Facebook group. Very welcome. Oh, a few people heard about it on Radio Scotland this morning. My goodness. Ah, Claire. Is that Bergeron? Hello from all our pupils at the Support for Learning Department at Crieff High School. Mesmerised by the gorgeous sight. You're most welcome, Claire. This is exactly what our public outreach is all about. And if it encourages one or two of the people that you support and teach then to go into science or engineering or any of the STEM subjects, then that would be most satisfying for us. There's a few of us in the club are also STEM ambassadors, and this is the type of thing that we like to do when we in the past have been able to go round and about and support schools. We also do, as part of our club, we do pop-up observatories, and at this time of year we do pop-up solar observing. Now, we haven't been able to do it because of the restrictions with to manage and control the virus, but we are looking at getting back onto that hopefully soon. We just need the restrictions to be eased a little bit more, and a bit more of guidelines coming from a bit more practical or pragmatic guidelines coming from the government, basically, and that will let us go out and about, and we can take our scopes out to you guys out there, because it's wonderful when you see it live and be able to talk face to face to the people who do it, and you'll find out that we're just ordinary people with a passion about science and astronomy and all things, not just science and astronomy, all kinds of things. Perfectly ordinary people. Robert, the chat's interesting. I'm doing it on my own. It feels like I'm talking to myself, Robert. It's a strange thing sitting here in an observatory. It must be like a radio man sitting in a studio he's on. That's all I can imagine it must be like. And you just hope that there are actually viewers or listeners out there. Sandra, yes, solar flares. That's well, they're not flares. They are prominences. Sandra's asked, is that solar flares to the left? Um, they are solar prominences. They are loops of plasma, right? And they follow the magnetic fields, the magnetic flux of the sun at that point. Now, sometimes, Sandra, those loops are so energetic that they, for want of a better word, they break free. They don't just fall back into the sun again. They break free, and they can flare out. They can throw their material out into space. What are they called? CMEs. Oh God, I can't remember what that stands for. My mind's taken a blank. But they get thrown out, and if they happen when they are sort of, nearly facing the Earth, they can then come and they can hit the Earth's atmosphere, upper atmosphere, at a tremendous speed with a tremendous energy, and that is what initiates and activates the northern lights, the aurora borealis and aurora australis that you see. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for my Help me with my mental block. Coronal mass ejection is what a CME is. Thank you. Oh, that was annoying me. I just couldn't, for the life of me, remember what that stood for. Lisa, who's up in Dingwall there, and she's going grrr. Clouds. That's just the way it is. There are clouds all the time. I think it's just fortunate that I've got this very special camera that I can play about with the exposure settings that I don't seem to need too much fiddling about with it to get a decent picture. Well, we're at the peak, no doubt about it. That's the, yeah, we're just on it or just slightly past it. 35% of the sun's disk blocked by our moon passing in front of the sun as we look at it. So there you go. For many of you, I'm sure that's your first experience of a partial solar eclipse. So I hope this is interesting to you. I'm going to go on for a while. I can go on till about midday. Then ordinary life kicks in for me. I have to go to a meeting about getting a new kitchen. What would I rather be doing? Have a guess. Thanks, Debbie. Debbie Lawrence, awesome. I think she's impressed by what she's seeing. And you're very welcome, Debbie. Thanks for coming along. 130. 130 viewers. Well, well. I think that's a record for our club. As I say, if you're interested, if this has whetted your appetite for astronomy, no matter where you are, try and find out where your local amateur club is, and I'm sure they will be only too pleased to have you asking about what they do and what they get up to, and even join it. Certainly if you're in the Highlands or the north of Scotland area, do contact us to find out about joining our wee club. Because this live observing that we now do, this was new to us. The virus control restrictions, they forced us into having to do things in a different way. And at first that is very painful. But to be honest with you, this has turned out to be almost, a way of doing things. Sorry, I'm playing about with the exposures on the... There, oh, jeez, that was a bit much. It's forced us to do things in a different way. And we have had to adopt and adapt technology to enable us to function. And we, of course, are going to continue to do this in addition to our normal, previous looking through the eyepiece astronomy. So if you're interested, if this is, say, whetted your appetite, please contact our membership secretary, and she will give you some information about the club. And if you want to join, it's very, very easy to join. Right, the cloud is a bit thicker, so I'm having a bit of trouble trying to get you something to see. But I will try my best. I'm up to nearly 2 seconds of exposure, which for the sun is a huge amount. But I am looking through pretty thick clouds, and it's still picking that up. That's good. That's good. Thanks for that feedback, Audrey. Yeah, we try to share with the community. That's what it's all about. The community is important in our world. Right, I'm going to try and find our membership secretary Lorraine's email address again, and I will paste that. I'll paste that so that if you want to contact us, you can do that. Okay, I found it. So this is the email address of our membership secretary. Feel free to get in contact with Lorraine. She would be delighted to hear from you. And what I'm also going to do is I am going to show you some joining details, the joining fees for our club. Just so you, there we go. Just wait till the cloud goes. So there you go. As I say, this, if you want to join our club, there are our annual subs for the different categories. If you don't know what category you fit in, just email Lorraine and she will steer you in the right direction. Very friendly club, very social club, very social online, but when we do meet up face to face, you'll find out that it's an extremely social, relaxed, available for all club. That's we want to make astronomy available to everyone. We don't want to restrict it to people. We don't want people to feel that they don't know about things. That's not the way we work. We're just ordinary people with a passion for amateur astronomy. I'm working hard behind the scenes to try and get the eclipse back. I think I managed it. Here we go. Okay. With the clouds passing, I can't get a constant exposure, so that's why it's popping in and out and overexposing and things. But if you just bear with us, I'm sure it'll come back. Thanks for the compliments, guys. You see, I'm struggling with the clouds here a little bit now, and they do. I'd have to say they do seem to be getting thicker, but they are moving fast. So I'm a born optimist. I'm hanging about. Right, I'm up to 1.5. Right, there's 2.5 seconds. Which is a lot. That's a lot for a solar image exposure, and it's still not picking it up. Oh, yes it is. Okay, so that is, I can tell you that is looking through really thick cloud and grossly overexposed, as you can now see. Tone it down. There you go. But you can still see the huge bite out of the sun's surface with the moon being in front of it. Oh, I think it's brightening up again. And Sandra's looking, if once it settles down, once this cloud goes, or once it gets steady enough, down this area, there are some wonderful solar prominences. The technical term, I think, for this type of formation is called a hedge. There we go. It's a hedge prominence. There's a whole heap of them, and they're stacked together, and they look like a hedge. I think I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but it deserts me at the moment. You can see I'm having real trouble getting this exposure right. I don't think 4 seconds is good for that camera. I shall drop that. Oh, I think for a moment the clouds are passing in front. There are thick ones, there are thin ones, there are tiny little gaps in the cloud, so it's very, very difficult at the moment. So you just have to bear with us. This is amateur astronomy. Thanks, Alison. Yeah, Alison's saying it's still good views in Berkshire, but much more interesting watching it with your commentary. Well, yeah. I don't know where all this commentary is coming from, Alison, but it's coming from somewhere. Yeah. You see when you overexpose it, right, you can see that, it distorts the colours to become, gaudy oranges and yellows, and that's just because the sensors on the camera chip, they just become saturated with light, and they can't handle it. But I think we're gonna get a few moments of proper stuff. I want to show some people, if they've just joined, I want to show them the surface again, because you can see that orange peel, which is also quite interesting. Oh, there we go. I think we're getting there. Ah, yeah. Can you see the orange peel? I call it orange peel. Don't know what the right name for it is, but the orange peel. It's showing it's the surface of the sun isn't smooth. It's very active. It's full of energy. It's full of moving, dynamic energy, and it's, as I say, it's like looking into a pot of boiling water, except it's not water. It's plasma. But I think you can see. Can you see the? You see the orange peel-like structure. There's an area down here. I'm going to have a look at this again. There's an area which isn't sunspots, but I think we call them plages. Well, maybe not. I think I might have to wait. No, clouds come in again. My goodness. I think this is what some people in other parts of the country were getting earlier, so I'm just getting my dose now. As you see, you've seen my head bopping about because I'm looking at a side screen, a computer screen, a telescope control, a webcasting software. It's all great fun. We've recently formed a tech team, so that's wonderful for getting our Zoom webcasts out. But we're hoping that the team can develop into helping us with webcasts and things. So again, if you're interested in joining the club, not just for astronomy, but perhaps to get experience in doing some, webcasting and things like that, you'd be welcome to come along. I haven't heard the WhatsApp ping for a while, which generally means that no one is capturing any pictures. There's a very interesting picture of Lisa on here on WhatsApp. She has special glasses on, trying to look through a camera at the same time. That'd be an interesting achievement. Oh, there we go again. For those of you, this area here is where those prominences are. There you go. See, they're just flicking in and out, but it's difficult getting the contrast against the sky because of the clouds. But that's where the hedge prominence is that I want to try and capture later on. I just have to be patient, guys. I think you can see now. See the partial eclipse, right? It's moving. It's moving over now. So it's obviously past its peak, and there's less than a third of the sun's disk is now covered by the moon. This is like manual control of the camera kit. It's tricky, but we're getting there. Lisa, I am sending you my clouds. My clouds are coming from your direction, so you know. Has anyone got any questions that's watching? Because there's a whole there's a lot of amateur astronomers that I know on here, and I'm sure they can answer many more technical and much more intense technical questions than I can answer. You've got the opportunity while they're here. Just tap them into live chat, and they'll have a go at answering them for you. There we go. Oh, that's bright. There we go. Yeah, very, very tricky. There is a cloud, and the sun is just skirting. The sun is just on its edge, with the wispy bits. So I'm just. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna. Oh, that's good. That's good. Stay there. I do realise this. We're recording this, so all my padding, filling commentary is all going to be there for everyone to hear in the future, including myself. Okay, I'll just try and let you see the outline, because we're not going to see any details at the moment, but I tell you, we are going to see details very soon. I reckon I've got a good 30 seconds to a minute of clear sky coming up. So, is there anything anyone wants to see? There we go, let's do a request for people. Oh, the sun's just about to come out. Just be patient, people. A few more seconds. Oh, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. Just to give you an idea, right, it's about 25 milliseconds, 25 thousandths of a second, this exposure. It's hardly anything, because obviously the sun is so bright. Now there you go, this is good, right? You can definitely see the orange peel structure of the sun now. Okay, some clouds coming over. You can see there's areas of the sun. These are these pale areas. Sometimes sunspots develop in there. Sometimes solar flares, you see a rapid brightening, a little spike, a little line, and you get solar flares. And if you do, you know, they're great to photograph, but they're a bit tricky to photograph. There's an area there that looks like it might be a sunspot group or sunspot group forming. I'm not sure. I'll look at that in more detail this afternoon. But for now, there is the moon passing in front of our sun, and it will gradually, that bite, that little chunk will get smaller and smaller and smaller until it completely vanishes at about, what was it, 12:35, so 25 to 1 or something like that. I can be with you for another quarter of an hour, so we've got another quarter of an hour. So as I say, if you've got any questions or comments, please fling them in. Hi Alison, yeah. The reason that the bite is at a different angle to yours is because the way I have set up the scope with its optics and the camera and the software, I have gone and flicked it. I flicked it round and it's in the wrong, inverted commas, the wrong place. Because I started it like that, I just went, I'm just going to keep it like that. Obviously, you're right. It's nothing to do with the part of the world you live in. It's my optical equipment and the camera and the way I have configured it. If I was taking photographs, I would just take it like this. But if I was publishing the pictures, I would swap them around or rotate them so that they looked in the, as I say, the right place. So it's nothing to do with you. It's me. Hazelnut. You are very welcome. I'm glad you were directed here. And as I say, if you're interested in amateur astronomy, whichever club is near you, just get in touch with them. They'll be glad to hear from you, and I'm sure everyone's dying to grow their membership again because we're all doing things different, and it's almost like having a new club and a new way of doing things because we've had to adapt quickly to use new technology, especially the internet information technology. And that's not going to go away. Once you've used it or once it's invented, you can't uninvent it. That's it. It becomes the established way. That's just the way things work. Thanks, Pete. You're very welcome. I was up till midnight last night, Pete, setting all this up because it's so long since we had done a live webcast that I had actually forgotten how to configure it. And it took me just a wee bit of time to relearn it, but it's all worth it when you get a result like this. Little tricks. I know when I have to turn the dome. I don't know if you heard the dome turning there. There's a shadow of all the equipment on the back wall of my observatory, and I can see when the sun is, rotated enough so it's moved out of position, and I just then turn the dome. That ensures that you guys get the brightest and best image possible. Does anyone want to see those solar prominences again? I think I do. Right, let's zap. Oh, no, we won't. I was going to zap the exposure up and then zoom in on that part of the sun which has that hedge prominence in it that Sandra was referring to. But I've got a bit of cloud to get. Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's coming out. I think I just have to be patient. Just bear with us. There's a a bit of cloud just passing right in front of the sun. It's quite thick, but it's not going to last long. And there we go. Oh, just a bit overexposed, but I think you can see where I'm going to go to. It's coming. Just believe in me, just have faith. Yeah, this is the area I want to go to. Okay. Right. I'm going to zoom in here. Right. There we go. That's the area. I'm going to try and get this exposure a bit better so it's not so overexposed. But this is this hedge prominence. That is absolutely fascinating me. It is such a complex structure. Can you see it there? Right, oh, it's overexposed. That's just the cloud. It's just making it difficult for me to get the exposure right. But look at that. There's a huge complexity in this area here. And that'll be interesting because, again, when it comes round our way, the sun, there might be a huge sunspot activity. There might not, but if there is, it'll be something worth looking at. It's wonderful. Again, you can use different equipment to look into the sunspots, and there's fantastic structure within very complex structure, and you know it's all due to energies and magnetic fields of some sort. I couldn't possibly explain it. There was a wonderful talk given by Lindsay Fletcher to Sigma Murray's Astronomy Club last month, and she just has the knack of presenting a very complex subject and actually making it understandable to the layman, to the ordinary person, and I learned an awful lot. Now there you go. Look, I think that's wonderful. Look at I think you can get a feel for the complexity. It looks like a massive Brussels sprout to me, or some trees. I mean, I know that's not very scientific or artistic in description, but it's the best I can do, guys. Isn't that fantastic? You guys with solar scopes and cameras, you'll all be rushing out to hopefully to get onto that area of the sun and try and get some good pictures. I'm also a member of the British Astronomical Association, BAA, and there are some excellent solar imagers on there. You can go into their gallery, their community gallery, and you'll see some wonderful, wonderful pictures, that were like taken the day before or whatever. It's fascinating, fascinating stuff, and available to all. Okay, Pete. Yep, thank you for coming along. Very welcome. I'm sure we'll be chatting sometime soon. So yeah, I'll see you again. Thanks for that, Mick and Pauline. Yeah, the Prominence is superb, isn't it? That's I know I keep on about it, but it's really, truly wonderful. I think the other one is, see this close up. You can, if I get the exposure right, I think this really does let you see the complex, the orange peel, as I call it, the orange peel structure of the chromosphere part of the sun. The clouds are flickering in and out, right? That's why I'm not actually adjusting the exposure. So you just have to kind of bear with me and wait until the exposure just happens to be right. But you can see that that part of the sun, it's not a smooth surface. There's a whole heap of stuff going on. You can just imagine the movement, the energy moving about, up and down deep, and say like a pan of boiling water. Yeah, thanks, Sophie. Yeah, it is. What a view. You're absolutely right. Thanks for that, Debbie. The different views with the different exposures. Yeah, well, some of that's deliberate, but some of it's very accidental. But we'll take the good with the bad. Okay, there's a bit of clouds. Would you believe, there's actually quite a lot of blue sky, and there happens to be one big cloud, and it's just skirting over the sun. Isn't that typical? It'll come back. As I say, I'm keeping. I've got it on the. I've got it on this part of the sun just now because of that very, very interesting prominence area. But also, it does show when it does appear. You definitely can see that the structure, the the convoluted orangey peel look to the chromosphere portion of the sun. How long would a prominence like that normally last? Oh, now I've seen them last for as long as 2 or 3 days, but they do change, right? They're not static; they do change all the time. I've also seen them vanish within 3-4 hours. So it's not a straight answer, I'm afraid, to that question. Yeah, Debbie, again, are they like solar flares? They can turn into solar flares, as is my simplistic way of describing it. But they're areas, they're areas of energy. The plasma is leaping about. It's following the magnetic lines, the magnetic flux of the sun in that part of it. Sometimes those flux lines, they break, and they allow the energy to career off. It's like tightening an elastic band, and then it suddenly just, it breaks and it just pings off, and that can be a solar flare, Debbie. And as I say, if it's Earth directed, that can then hit the Earth with a tremendous amount of energy and can disturb, can excite the ions, the components in our upper atmosphere, and you can end up with beautiful northern or southern lights. I hope that helps. Right, I'm going to go back to watching the whole sun for a short time. Okay, so there you go. Your eclipse there's still quite a lot of that there. It's just coming up. It's nearly midday, and I'll be winding down at midday. But this will go on for another good 40 minutes or so. Yet the bite will get smaller and smaller and smaller until the moon's passed in front of the sun. That's it. It's gone, and you'll just have to wait for the next one. Now, I can't remember when the next ones are. I don't know if Pauline or anyone who's on has dates of the next partial or total eclipses. That might be useful for people who are watching. Yeah, Lisa's just mentioned again, I forgot, the coronal mass ejection is what it's called when the magnetic, the flux, the plasma, it twists and twists and twists, and then it bursts and it sends out the energy into space, basically, on the solar wind. And it's called a coronal mass ejection, CME. Everything's abbreviated in science and engineering. Okay, we're coming up for time. I'm just going to fade out shortly. So, I just want to thank you from Highlands Astronomical Society. Thank you from myself for coming along. A lot of viewers. I want to thank Twitter and other people who, I don't know, who obviously shared the link to this public event, and obviously Radio Scotland, which brought in quite a few viewers. So thank you very much for that. Your participation on the chat has been excellent. I've really enjoyed doing it. This YouTube, this is being recorded and it will be put up on our channel, which you're currently in. It will be available to the public. You can come back in and watch it anytime you want. There may be a bit of it that you were particularly interested in. The live chat down the side will be included. So if there was a conversation or a comment that you want to see again, you'll be able to see that. But thank you for coming along. Thank you from Highlands Astronomical Society. Thank you from me, Eric Walker. I wish you clear skies and keep looking